But I've been talking about the reality of the millennial kingdom and eternal rewards. We've been talking about this for some time. The last time we met, I moved out of the millennial kingdom and began to talk about eternal rewards. And we walked through scriptures in both the Old Testament and the New Testament that talk about eternal rewards. I shared with you that Yeshua, I've shared this before, that Jesus in the four Gospels 40 times talked about eternal rewards. And in the Beatitudes alone, 9 times he mentioned. I had you guys count them as we went through them. You remember that? I know some of you remember that. I talked about a lady named, let me look, Florence Chadwick. You guys remember that? She was a long-distance swimmer. She swam the English Channel back and forth, broke the world's record, 1950s, and then she swam from one of the islands, Santa Catalina Island, for the coast of California, 22-mile swim. Her mother was on a boat and told her that you're almost there because the waters are heavy, the waves are big, and it's full of fog. And then she quit. She ended up quitting. And she was a half a mile from the shore. And she had a quote. She said, "If I could have seen the shore, I would have made it." So I told you I wanted to be like the mom in the boat, telling you, keep swimming, keep kicking, that you're almost there. And I've been talking about the allegorical concept of the millennial kingdom and eternal rewards that crept into the church around 150 AD. And it was a Greek mindset. It was Christoplatonism. It was a philosophy from Plato that crept in and overtook the church philosophy. Because all the first believers, Yeshua, Jesus himself, the prophets of old, they were all expecting a literal kingdom to come. And when Jesus is talking about eternal rewards and storing up treasures in heaven, he wasn't just talking allegorically. He meant it. What you do now with what you have, you'll reap a reward for. And Paul said it. Do not weary in doing good. Know that you will reap a reward in due season. And the Apostle Paul wasn't talking about now. He was talking about in the thing to come. He was talking about the rewards that Jesus talked about that can't be stolen by thieves, that rust and moth won't deteriorate or destroy. And those are the things that matter and that we need to go after. And unfortunately, and I said, a lot of us would say, yes, we believe in that, but our life says something different. The way that we walk, the way we talk, the things that we do with our finances, the way we act, it says that we don't actually believe that. And I believe that if we can grab a hold of the truth of that again and the reality of it, we will overcome many things, and we'll walk in a way that the world will see that the church is different. The reality is, the church, in a lot of ways, doesn't look any different than the world, generally speaking. And trying to use the same tactics, the same principles, the same thing to accomplish a God thing. And James talked about 2 different wisdoms. He talked about the wisdom from God, and he talked about a wisdom from world. And the reality is the church is applying the wisdom of the world a lot in our practices. So we're trying to apply Jesus now to make us healthy, wealthy, and wise, instead of applying the reality of what Jesus taught, that there's something to come that's much better. And this is only like a time frame for us to build up treasures in heaven and to prepare ourselves for that thing that's come. So I've been grounding that and rooting that. One of the last things that Jesus said in his word, if you'll stand, please, like, this is how important it is. And if we look at this, if we read this for what it is, like, there's obvious implications here that you personally are going to receive something for what you personally have done. That your own efforts are going to matter. And that it's not all just an equal playing field. And it's going to be okay. It's okay to go after the greater thing. Jesus said, literally, Revelation 22, verse 12, one of the last things he said, Gavin, is, behold, look, I am coming quickly, and my reward is with me to render to every man according to what he or she has done. Very specific. He said, I'm going to, according to what you've done. What you do now, the way you steward yourself, the way you steward your finances, the way you steward your time, the way you steward your relationships, the way you steward your sphere of influence, and we all have a sphere of influence. The way we handle it, the way we approach it, it's going to matter. You may suffer loss, or you may gain great gain. And we walk through the scripture through Corinthians where Paul talks about the one that will be judged as by fire. Not your salvation, he says. You'll be saved as by fire, but what you did good and what you did bad, what you built with, straw, hay, stubble, or precious things will matter. The precious things will stay. The other stuff, it'll get burned up. Please be seated. But Jesus found it so important. It's like, it's the triumphal entry. He's like entering into Jerusalem to die, and he pauses for a moment, and he begins to talk to his disciples about the widow's mite and how she gave more than all the others. We've got to understand the importance of giving. We've got to understand that it's more than just what we see. Paul, he says, what is unseen is the greater reality than what is seen. So many of us are trying to go after the things of this world and trying to apply kingdom principles to building our kingdom on earth. And then when we even get it, it doesn't satisfy us. So it only perpetuates our greed and our hunger, and we only want more, instead of believing what this word says, that there is a great reward to come that's going to completely satisfy you. And if you're satisfied in that, you'll overcome everything. I talked about this last week. Knowing this truth will set you free of envy, of jealousy, of strife, of competition, of all of this stuff, depression, anxiety. If you actually believe that there's a reward to come, not just floating around and that we're all going to be equal and even, but that what you do today for the kingdom and for his glory is going to matter. It'll change your entire life. It was Paul's absolute belief in that afforded him the ability to say, in a prison, these are temporary light afflictions. Are you so guaranteed? We've got young kids over here. They're so bored because they think that this is all that it's going to be. They don't know that, no, there's something greater to come. This is nothing. This is nothing. You're going to actually be reigning and ruling and building an empire with Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. This ain't it, guys. If this was it, I wouldn't blame you. I would be bored too. If I thought that this is all it was, it's just so I would be a nice person, so that I wouldn't, sin, so that I wouldn't, sleep with my boyfriend before I should, because, boy, that really sounds like fun. But the reality is there's something so much better to come than that. And if you resist now and overcome now, you will be rewarded with a reward that you can't even fathom. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard. It has not even begun to enter into the hearts of man what God has in store for you. But listen, you can actually begin to think about what it's going to look like. Because the language of it is like you're going to receive a glorified body. Like the whole creation is crying out for the soul. There's still going to be beauty and trees, and there's still going to be all of these things. It's going to be glorious. So we can fathom what it's going to be like. He talks about cities and a building and the New Jerusalem being beautiful and having golden streets. And so we can kind of imagine what it's going to be like, but it's going to be so much better than the best imagination that we can come up with. So like when we realize that and understand that, it's not boring. It's awesome. It's not boring. It's amazing. But we've just been told, oh, well, you know, you just be a Christian and you get through and you get by, brother. And you grit your teeth and you just be a nice person and smile at everybody. Jesus didn't die just to make you a nice person here on earth. He died because he's going to bring a kingdom to earth, and you're going to partner with him, and you're going to build it, and it's not going to know any end. And you're going to be rewarded, and the way you steward your responsibilities now, you're going to be given more then. He said the one that produced 10 talents, doubled it. The one who had the most and doubled it. He said, you were faithful with little. So the person that has the most now and is faithful with that, Jesus calls it little. So you think it's something now, but it's something bigger to come. We've got to realize the millennial kingdom and eternal rewards are more than just a cool story. They're more than just an allegory. They're real. And the millennial kingdom will be a time of experiential reward. You're going to experience the rewards that are to come. Again, Jesus, the last thing he said is, I'm coming quickly to reward you according to what you've done. You are going to be rewarded. You're going to be rewarded. And if you don't believe that, then you're not going to go after it. And I want you to believe it. I want to be like Florence Chadwick's mom in the boat. Keep swimming, Jackie. Keep swimming. Keep going. You're almost there. Keep going. You're not going to reach the shore. You're not going to reach the shore and come out and say, man, if only I could have seen it. I could have had glory. If only I could have made it. There could have been glory for me, right, Magali? No. I mean, we can read in the scriptures that one day we're going to stand before a judgment throne, and we're going to be rewarded, and we're going to be tried by fire. And some of the things that we've done out of selfish ambition, some of the things that we've done out of jealousy and all, like some of the things that we thought were good things, they're going to be burned up. And they're not going to mean anything. They're not going to mean anything. Well, now that we know that there is a millennial kingdom and eternal rewards, how do we pursue them? We will be measured by our hearts, choices, and achievements. Listen, we're going to walk through scriptures. How do we achieve these rewards? Because I'm talking a lot about them. So I want to give you an idea and an understanding of how we earn them, how we achieve them. And we're going to be measured by our hearts, our choices, and our achievements. And what it all really boils down to is overcoming. At the end of the day, we overcome our deceitful heart. Because you can say what you want, but the Bible says that the heart is deceitfully wicked. We overcome our choices. We make good choices. I'm so tired of the victim mentality. Who here is tired of the victim mentality? It is all over this earth right now. Everybody is a victim. Listen, the best day of your life will be when you realize you are not a victim, but you have a choice, and you can choose to make the right choice, and you don't have to be a victim. I don't care what social class you were born into. I don't care what color you were born. I don't care what race you were born. I don't care what gender you were born. You can make the choices to do better. You can use it as a way to be a victim and never get anywhere, or you can choose to do better. Your choices are going to matter. You can overcome your situation by making the right choices and your achievements. Yeah, one was given 5 talents, one was given 2, one was given 1. So we're not all given the equal same opportunities. But what we do with them, how we choose to steward them. I talked last week about I used to paint cars. There's production work, and then there's like high-end classic work, right? That everybody wants to do the high-end classic. But I can tell you today, like either one that you do, you should do with integrity. whatever you do as unto the Lord. Why? Because whatever you do, if you do it as unto the Lord, there's going to be a reward for it. When Jesus blows this trumpet and calls you up to the banquet, are you going to be late? Or are you going to be on time? What you do now, the way you steward, the way you handle yourself, it all matters. Jesus said, not one idle word that you speak goes unrecorded. Not one idle word that we speak goes unrecorded. We're going to take, it's going to be an account for all of it. Jesus is the perfect accountant. He's the perfect bookkeeper, and he's keeping books. I would like to tell you, I want to. Jesus does love you. He said, "The same way the Father loves me, I love you." But he's completely just and righteous and perfect. His grace is sufficient, but he's perfect. I want to talk about the measurement of our hearts. How we'll be measured by hearts. And let's look through some scriptures here. Let a man regard us in this manner, as servants of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. We are stewards of the mysteries of God. They were hidden, right? What are mysteries? They're hidden things, but they've been revealed to you and I. We're stewards of them. In this case, moreover, it is required of stewards that one be found trustworthy. So he said to you, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to observe everything that I taught you. So guess what? You are a steward of his mysteries. He has told you to do something with what he's given you. Now you've got a choice. Where's your heart at? Now we're going to see, though, Paul talks about, I can't judge, and I'm asking the Lord to help me. I'm going to be transparent and honest. Like, I have a hard time. I get a little critical. I get a little judgy. Does anybody else ever do that? Or am I the only one? Thank you. A couple of us in here, right? I'm just being honest. But Paul goes on to say, but to me it is a very small thing that I may be examined by you or by any human court. In fact, I do not even examine myself, for I am conscious of nothing against myself. Yet I am not by this acquitted. Right? I can say, well, there's nothing, I'm good by the grace of God, and I am. But I'm not by this acquitted. But the one who examines me is the Lord. Right? So it's not right for me to say, okay, I know why they're doing that. That guy is screaming out in worship. It's all his flesh. It's just his flesh. I don't know this. I don't see the inward parts of man. I don't measure man by their heart. I measure them by what I see with my eyes. And my eyes are wrong a lot. Therefore, do not go on passing judgment before the time, but wait until the Lord comes, who will both bring to light the things hidden in the darkness and disclose the motives of men's hearts. And then each man's praise will come to him from God. So one of the ways that we earn rewards is by overcoming our deceitful heart, by overcoming our desires, and giving ourselves away, and actually denying ourselves and picking up our cross and following him, and allowing our heart to be tethered to his heart and desire his intentions and purposes. Again, me, I might judge somebody for the things they're doing. Sometimes you walk into these big mega churches and stuff, and it's like, I'm guilty of judging them. But I don't know their heart. God knows their heart. God knows what they're, He knows if it's like they're building their own empire and their own kingdom, or if they're like really looking to build God's church, to build his people. I've got to, this is for me. I adjust my heart. One day, these things will be revealed. It's our heart position. This is one of the ways that we will earn rewards. This is Matthew chapters. This got me when I was a newer believer. I was running, doing street evangelism, all over the place, doing all kinds of stuff, passing out food and stuff. And my wife and I, we went to the International House of Prayer. Kathy Lanning was there, and some other people were there. And I was literally in the prayer room, and they have a prophetic, ministry where you go into a prophetic room and they prophesy over you. I was literally waiting to go into this prophetic room, and I was in this chapter of the Bible, and I was like, Lord, are the things that I'm doing real, or are they not real? And they come in, they prophesied, I call you friend and stuff. It was amazing. The Lord's so good, right? He talks to us. But listen, he says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father. Now get this. He who does the will of my Father who is in heaven will enter. And then he says, many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? And in your name cast out demons, and in your name perform many miracles. Jesus said that those who believe these signs will follow them. They'll cast out demons. They'll do these things. They'll heal the sick. They'll prophesy. Right? So they did the will of the Father. You get that? They were doing the will of the Father. Jesus said, anybody who says, Lord, Lord, but the one who does the will of my Father. So they were doing the will of the Father. And then I declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. So they were doing the will of the Father, but their heart wasn't connected to him in relationship. They were doing things out of selfish ambition, out of drive, out of maybe a thirst for power, for watching God move, right? We think of the disciples that came back after being sent out. Even the demons were subject to us in your name, Lord. And he said, don't rejoice over that. Rejoice because your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. So he was checking them for their selfish ambition of something that could have drove them, like to see the power of God move, right? These people were seeing the power of God move, but their hearts weren't connected to the Lord. So they were saying, Lord, Lord, and they were doing the will of the Father, but with wrong motives. Their heart wasn't in the right place, wasn't in the right perspective. Then he goes on again to re-verify. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. Now, I don't know about you. Again, they were doing the will of the Father, and Jesus said, anybody that does the will enter into heaven. It's all about relationship, guys. It's all about relationship. That's what he wants before he wants our actions. He wants our hearts. Before he wants us to do something for him, he wants us to love him. This is the first and greatest commandment. You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength was added. And you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. Right? So the first thing that we have to do is give our hearts to God. We've got to love on him and let him love on us. And then from that outworking will come the love of the neighbor. We'll love ourselves. We'll be able to love our neighbor the way we love ourselves. But the reality is a lot of us are loving our neighbor like we love ourselves, but we actually don't love ourselves because we haven't been loved by God, and we haven't entered that relationship. So unfortunately, we're broken and we're wounded. He says this to the church in Revelation, I know your deeds, that you are neither hot nor cold. I wish that you were cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. He knows the deeds, right? I love it. A couple weeks ago, Elder Bruce preached on this. There were 2 springs that flowed in this area. And one was hot, and you could bathe in it, and you could soak your bones in it, and it felt good, and it was comforting. And one was cold, refreshing, life-giving. Be one of those, right? Don't be lukewarm, where you can soak in the water and it does no good. You can drink it and it's not refreshing. So in your relationship with Lord, it doesn't matter about your deeds. It matters about your heart, about being connected and tethered to his heart. He says, because you say, I am rich and have become wealthy and have need of nothing, and you do not know that you are wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. There's some people that are doing a lot of things, but they're wretched and poor and blind and naked. They think they're rich. They're building big stuff. They're doing big things. But at the end of the day, they're actually poor and wretched. We will be measured by our choices. Jesus said this to his disciples, "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. Naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me." We know what the disciples said, right? They were like, he said, "Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? And when did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or naked and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison or come to you?' The king will answer and say to them, 'Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did it to one of these brothers of mine, even the least of them, you did it to me.'" They made the right choices. Sometimes, especially in our world today, it's easy to make the wrong choice. It's easy to be busy. Just today, Elder Bruce and I, on Fridays, at 2 o'clock, I come out of the prayer room. Rachel goes into the prayer room. Elder Bruce and I, we have an elders meeting every Friday around 2 o'clock. So we're in the middle of our elders meeting. And this happened last week, too. The phone rings. I'm like, all right, let me answer this. So today I answer it. And it said, "This is a prepaid call. You will not be charged from the Maryland Correctional." And I said, click. That's not for me. This isn't we don't have a prison ministry. So the phone rings again. I'm like, all right, Elder Bruce, hold on a minute. Let me. And it's the same thing. And I get this check from the Spirit. Like, nope, this is me. Okay, I take the call. And this guy, he was actually looking for Discovering the Jewish Jesus. He had the tablet, and he's been watching Rabbi. They've Discovering the Jewish Jesus gotten placed on these tablets that are placed in the prisons. So he watched that, and somehow or another he found, they always do. They find Lion of Judah's phone number, and he calls me, and I can tell like right away, though, this is the Lord. So I'm talking to this guy, and I want to be dismissive because, I'm about to prepare for, service, and I need to cook dinner and, get myself ready, and we're in the middle of an elders meeting and all of these busy things, right? But I chose to listen to the Lord. And this guy was actually a real encouragement to me. He was stabbed like 14 times, and God raised him from the dead. And I could tell by talking to this man, it was authentic, it was real. And then he started prophesying, Elder Bruce. I didn't share this with you. He was like, "I had a vision of you, man. I had a vision of this very conversation." And I was just like, that's when I was like, okay, what's your name? How do you spell that? What's your address? Like, let me make sure I get your information. Like, this is the Lord, right? So the point is we're going to be measured by our choices. And we need to be sensitive when we're walking through situations, because we may be clothing Jesus. We may be giving him something to eat. We may be visiting him. We might, and the reality is like, I'm not, I know in our Western church, everybody's called pastor, right? But as far as like the offices and anointing goes, like, I'm not anointed necessarily in the office of a pastor, because pastors really enjoy listening to people's stuff, being involved in their hard situations, counseling. That's not my strong suit. I have to make a choice to enter into that. It's not easy for me. It's like the gift of help. Some people they walk in the gift of helps, and some of us have to make the choice to love on people correctly, right? And to serve and to give ourselves away. So we've got to make the right choices. The choices that we make matter. What we do now with what we've been given, the opportunities that we've been given. We've got to slow down in our life. We've got to listen to the Lord and let him direct us and let him guide us. Again, without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who seek him. This is about choices. This is about getting up early in the morning and seeking him. This is about choosing to hit your snooze button, or choosing to get up. This is about choosing 15 minutes to sit in his presence and receive life from him or not. Do you believe that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him? Because if we did, then I think sometimes we would make different choices. We're going to be measured by our choices and rewarded by the choices that we make. We're almost there. You guys good? You guys are all right? Okay, good. I saw somebody leave. I don't know. Maybe they made a different choice. We will be measured by our achievements. Now, here's where, Michelle, this challenges the church today. Our culture, right? Our false humility. There's a lot of false humility in the church. And we don't want to achieve things because, well, you know. I mean, our church culture a lot today is well, thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm going to make a choice to move on from that comment. See? I'm growing, Caleb. I'm growing. The Lord's doing a work in me. I'm telling you, this practice in self-control in my eating, I want to encourage you. Man, if you practice it, you practice self-control in that, the man, like you, I'm telling you, I can see it in my, like, manifesting in other parts of my life. My emotions, you know, all kinds of things. Self-control, it's on the it's the last on the list, Kathy. Right? Fruit of the Spirit, it's the last one on the list. Why is it the last one on the list, right? Fruit of the Spirit. Gifts of the Spirit are given. Fruit of the Spirit is cultivated. And I always like to say, you know what the best fertilizer is for fruit? Manure. So you want to cultivate self-control or patience or all that stuff, you can expect a big old helping of manure thrown on that garden. The Lord knows what he's doing. All right? He knows what he's doing. For it is just like a man about to go on a journey who called his own slaves and entrusted his possessions to them. This is accomplishment. This is accomplishment. To one, he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his own ability. And he went on his journey. Immediately, the one who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them. Immediately. If you think about it, if you hesitate, if you say, oh, I'm going to pray about it, like, I want you to get this, man. Hearing the Lord is 9 out of 10 times intuition. It's an intuition, it's a knowing in your knower that God's speaking to you about something. If you hem-haul around about it, and people will grab a hold of those who wait on the Lord, and I get that, times we need to. But there's times where we know what we're supposed to do. And if we pause and we hem-haul around about it, we will talk ourselves right out of it. We've got to be immediate about it. We've got to attack it. We've got to go after it. We've got to run. We've got to go for it. Go for it. Go for it. I'm telling you right now, if you go for it and it's wrong, but your heart was right, he's gonna redirect it. He's gonna make something out of it. His grace is gonna be over it. It's gonna be enough. If your heart was right and you did it because, Lord, I thought I heard from you, I promise you, he's gonna guard you and shield you and release grace over it. And even if it's a mistake, you know, at least you're going to learn from it. At least you'll learn from it. So I think like hearing the Lord and releasing a prophetic word or a word of knowledge or something over somebody. You know, if you release the wrong word, well, pay attention, learn from it, and say, oh, that obviously was the voice of my voice, or, you know, it wasn't God's voice. So the next time that I get it right, let me pay attention And that's how we learn. I don't know about you, but I learn most often through my mistakes. When I make a mistake, usually that's it. I won't, I've learned my lesson. I've always been the hard way. I've got a hard head. So what the Lord's given me, right? So immediately the one who had received 5 talents went and traded with them and gained 5 more. In the same manner, the one who had received the 2 talents gained 2 more. But he who received the 1 talent went away and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. I love this. Mother Teresa. Has anybody in here ever heard of Mother Teresa? Of course you have. Everybody knows who Mother Teresa is, right? She just started out just loving on one person. There's a quote from her that I love. If you can't feed the 1,000, feed the one. Don't use the small, do not despise the small beginnings. Don't use the smallness of what you may have to offer as an excuse to not offer anything. Because you'll be rewarded for your accomplishments. God knows what he's given each person. The master knew what he had given each person, and he didn't expect them to earn more than what he gave them the ability to earn. But he expected them to accomplish what he gave them to accomplish. You will be rewarded for your accomplishments. So don't be discouraged and look at what somebody else has, but know God, the author of all things, Adon Olam, the master of the world, has given you what you have, and he's given you that amount to do with it. Because those who are faithful with little will be faithful with much. If he gives you little and you can't be faithful with that, and he gave you much, you wouldn't be faithful with that either. You would blow it. So he gives you what you can. He knows what he's doing. And don't use the small, what you feel like is the small ability that you have, and use that as a cop-out to not do anything. Accomplishment. You will be judged and rewarded for your accomplishments for the kingdom of God. One who had received the 5 talents came up and brought 5 more talents, saying, Master, you entrusted 5 talents to me. See, I've gained 5 more talents. His master said, well done, good and faithful slave. Look, he had the most and doubled it. You were faithful with a few things. He said, that was nothing. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. This was the one that had the most, guys. And according to Jesus' scale, it was few things. And you did good with it. Also, the one who had received 2 talents came up and said, Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. See, I have gained 2 more talents. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Jesus wasn't just telling these stories to get you excited so that you'd be a nice person and do good things here on earth. He was telling you these stories so that you would be excited and that you would do good things on earth, expecting something in return. This false humility of, I can't expect anything in return. Get off of that. Because Jesus said, you can expect something in return. And if he told you you should expect something in return, you know what you should do? You should expect something in return. And not say, nope, I'm not doing this for anything. No. If he was encouraging you and saying, if what you're faithful with now, you're gonna get a reward for that. Like, use that as fuel for the fire. It's okay to. It's not selfish ambition. It's not like you're trying to build your kingdom here. You're realizing that if you do something great for God now, he's going to bless you then. I'll say it again. You're realizing if you do something great for God now, if that's handing somebody a $5 bill or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or, rolling up and feeding 600 people. If you move now, you can expect something then.